Hey guys, welcome back to Shy's Long Con for episode 3. Today joining me is my co-host Henry,
You would never have guessed. It's me, Henry, again.
and I'm the host Cheyenne. Today we're gonna go over relationship stories like marriage, engagement. We tried to focus on the married and engagement part, but then we fell off because we're not organized.
Yeah.
Woo! It was actually a lot harder to find stories within that range using only 20 minutes because who plans ahead nowadays? Not me.
Yeah, not me. Also, a lot of the stories about engagements and weddings are usually about them going wrong because those are spicy and interesting. But it also can be pretty bumming and sad.
Yeah, we kind of messed up the audio, so most of the story's already been pre-recorded. This is us going back to fill in the gap. Or so this episode will be a little bit of a bummer towards the end. If you want to skip that story, it'll have its very alarming trigger warnings. Um, and I think that might be the second to last story of the episode. So if you just don't want to listen into the rest of the episode, that's good because I don't know how to put any time markers in. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Still our third episode, baby. We're
yeah,
learning.
yeah. Still our third episode. We're learning obviously with how we messed up the audio.
Also, this is a little peek behind the curtain, but if last episode you heard some snoring, that is because our dog Goose was snoring from under the table. So,
Yeah.
heads
So
up.
yeah. But anyways, we are going to start with a story from Henry,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, it's from the subreddit Am I the Asshole Relationships? The title is Am I the Asshole? My Husband Wants Me to Change. So, I'm posting here to make sure I'm not crazy. My husband and I have been married for 3 years, almost 4. We have a child together, almost 2, female. I have been with him through cancer, chemotherapy, his crazy toxic mother, his 4 job changes, my extremely horrible pregnancy, a very traumatic birth, and more chaos. When we met, I had just bought a home by myself in town. I love living in town because I was raised in the country where I barely had any cell service, and my closest friend was a 20-minute drive away. I have always said I'd never want to live in the country again. I have also said I'd never wanted farm animals again. I had them as a kid, and I never wanted that responsibility. Well, 4 days ago, he started acting weird. Like, standoffish. Didn't sit next to me at dinner, was super monosyllabic. Just odd. So, I pushed him until he finally told me what was wrong today. Apparently, we want different things and has no idea what we are even doing anymore. As you imagine, I was flabbergasted that this came out of nowhere. Why did he feel this way? Because I don't want to sell my house and move on to 20 acres in the middle of nowhere so he can shoot bows, blow shit up, and have farm animals? I was absolutely floored when his response to why he married me if he knew I didn't want any of those things was, people change all the time. I thought you'd change. He never told me he wanted me to even consider that. So I was in shock. I told him he was selfish and childish for acting the way he has, and for marrying me to begin with, if he knew I didn't want those things. He said he wasn't sure he wanted to be married to me. I told him he owed me an apology at the very least for all of the shit he has put me through and is going to put our child through when we inevitably get divorced. He told me he didn't owe me a thing. So, am I the asshole for not changing my mind on our living situation and my opinion on his apology based on his behavior towards me? Ha!
Yeah, not the asshole.
I mean, yeah, obviously, this is a lot to spring on anybody, especially when you found out, oh, you've been lying to me for the course of the relationship because you thought I would change to fit your perfect version of a partner.
Yeah, you shouldn't be in a relationship if you need the other partner to change.
Yeah, like you can work together to solve problems, but like this is something where it's like I have a irreconcilable difference in our wants and desires, and you simply aren't going to convince me that the way I think and the things I want are things that I should change for you. Like that's just not how things work.
Right? That's not how things work at all.
No, it's incredibly selfish. It disrespects your partner because you think, oh, they actually don't know what they want. And maybe the things they want are stupid because they're not what I want. Like, Jesus, how self-obsessed do you need to be?
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, OP's not an asshole. OP made it clear when they started their relationship what OP wasn't okay with house-wise and living arrangement. And then OP's husband goes on to say, I thought you'd change. And then won't apologize for the damage that he's going to put OP and their child through. He's just like, I don't have to apologize for anything. And she's like, what do you mean? You are the reason we're going through this right now.
Yeah. And especially after she has supported him through so much. I
Oh,
mean, chemotherapy, working through the complicated minefield that is his parent relationship. And I mean, just like also rearing a child who is now two, by the way. So, like, this is some big shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. A divorce isn't going to fuck up a child irreversibly. I went through a divorce
you went
with
through a
my
divorce?
parents. Yeah, I have not been married before.
This is news to me. I'm surprised.
It's my secret wife, Bathilda.
Oh,
No, no.
tell me all about her.
I'm not a good enough improviser to actually make up details on the spot about Bathilda, except for her name.
Oh, wow. Does she have curly brown hair?
Yes, and she has blue eyes and beautiful white teeth and a cool tank top that she is wearing right now.
Bathilda sounds very similar to someone I know.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of inspiration in the moment.
Okay.
But no, what I'm saying is like divorce is something that just happens. I've known several friends, even family members, who went through divorce at a really young age, even younger than me. Don't get confused about it. They're step siblings, and they're well-adjusted people. I don't think that's going to be an issue here. What is going to be an issue is dealing with a parent who is so utterly selfish. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, this person is like, oh, I don't owe you an apology. Buddy, you owe a lot to her.
Right. She went through a lot for him, and the fact that he doesn't see it and just keeps on asking for more and being like, yeah, my needs are more important than anyone else's needs, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
Yeah, also, what a shitty communicator for being like, I'm not going to communicate that you did anything wrong, but I'm going to, for days on end, treat you like shit, give you no inkling of what I'm upset about, and just make you walk on eggshells to try and find any way to solve this issue. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, and then you finally ask about what's wrong because something's clearly bothering him, and then he goes on about the stuff that you guys agreed upon when you were in the relationship
Yeah,
before you got married.
it's immature as hell.
Yeah.
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 But okay, let's go on to the update. Okay, update. So, all of that happened yesterday, right? Well, we fought a lot and slept in separate rooms. I woke up this morning still mad. He did too. I asked to look through his phone. He said no. I said the phone was in my name and he could let me go through it or I would shut it off. If he had nothing to hide, he had nothing to worry about. Well, he wasn't cheating, but he did have some healthy dissing of me in his group chat. So we argued about that a lot. And I asked him what he thought would come of this. When had I ever taken away a hobby, or when had I ever told him no to something he wanted to do? I would do it if it were somewhere near the coast, as I love to saltwater fish, but that we needed to move forward on the plan to move to a smaller town for our child's education. I then asked if he still thought I didn't deserve an apology after giving me anxiety for 4 days, thinking I did something wrong, and going through every interaction, making me anxious about where me and my child were going to live, how my work would be affected, and how our child would be affected. He thought for a second, and he said he didn't realize he did that to me, and he genuinely apologized. He told me that he knew I hated the farm life and didn't want to bring it to me because he thought I would blow up on him. I told him our life isn't just about me, but if he came to me honestly and told me that he want what he wanted, we could talk about it realistically. It was about then that the lack of caffeine hit me and I left to buy a coffee. Lol. When I came back with one for him too, he was crying. Said that he was so ashamed of himself for only thinking about his wants when I always thought about his. We had a true talk about how he broke my trust and he would have to earn it back, because I couldn't believe he wouldn't change the script on me again. I also told him he needed to talk to a therapist because not communicating with me about his feelings and wants makes everything worse. That I wasn't his enemy or evil, and I'm typically willing to compromise. He agreed to the therapist, and without me asking, got into his group chat and apologized to them for talking about his wife that way, and said it was never appropriate. Now, before y'all come for me, I didn't just instantly forgive him. We argued a lot, and I don't anticipate being right with him for a while. But, for the sake of our kid, I think we should work together to be better. He came from a broken home, and it messed him up terribly. And my parents fought constantly. We swore to break that cycle with our kid. He is going to try and be better at communicating with me, and I'm going to try to be more open to conversations. Also, P.S., we truly spoke about moving to somewhere in the country, and he agreed 20 acres was too much, and that he didn't really want to be in the middle of nowhere. He was just mad. We looked at properties we both liked, but we agreed that we were going to wait until after our baby is out of school.
Okay.
What do you think?
You know, if they can work on it and communicate properly, take the proper steps to like fixing their relationship, I think that's completely fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think like if he's putting in the work to be more considerate, to be more communicative, because clearly he struggles with that from the post, just like acting like there's a problem, making his wife feel like she's walking on eggshells, like that's pretty childish, I would say.
Yeah. Um I think that had a good ending, and I hope that going to therapy and communicating more on your guys' thoughts and finding a middle ground is a great way to start
Hmm.
fixing the holes that the relationship has shown.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
not all relationship not all relationships have to end
Yeah,
if you're willing to fix it.
I
But
agree.
some relationships just can't be fixed, but I don't think that's one of them.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I really like how the OP was talking about like how framing his actions is not only harmful towards her but also like the future of their child
Right,
is something that really like, oh yeah, I've got to be more thoughtful about how I'm acting and behaving.
right.
Like that was something I thought was clever and also just like a great way to be like emotionally open about what you're having to go through because of this.
Yeah, it's hard to break cycles.
It is. It's brutal. And I mean, even if we try our best, those behaviors are still going to repeat themselves somewhere in our lives.
Yeah. Any good comments?
Well, these it's tricky because some of these posts were made before the update. But I'll look for some good one. Oh, given his history of cancer, maybe a brain scan would not be a bad idea. Such a sudden change in behavior might be concerning. Um, However, I think this was before the update, and that was before she knew like uh, the big reasoning, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that is like it's scary to think about. Like sometimes with like cancer and stuff like that, like your partner can just change who they are because quite literally their brain is being changed by,
Yeah.
the new growths and stuff like that. That's terrifying.
That is terrifying, and I
Yeah.
hope that never happens to anyone in my family
Yeah,
or those around me.
me too. That's a terrible reality for anyone to go through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Yeah. Do you want to go into your one?
yeah, let's move on to my story. It's from Am I the Asshole Relationships. Am I the asshole for falling out of love with my fiance for cheating, even though it happened months ago?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of obvious, right? It's like, oh, it didn't happen yesterday, so it's like it's not a big deal. It's like, no, of course, cheating is a big deal, no matter when it happened.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big deal. And no, I wouldn't think you would be the asshole just from this title alone. But let's dig in. I actually haven't read this story completely yet, so yeah, don't read my screen.
I'm so curious.
I'm about to read it. Do you not trust my reading abilities?
I do. I just want to see the words too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi. So I've never thought I would have to ask something like this on a public social media, but I, 26F, have basically fallen out of love with my fiance. Let's call him Joseph, 29M, after the many times he's emotionally cheated on me throughout our relationship. He has always tried to play it off like he didn't know what I was talking about, despite the fact that I would show him proof of what he had said to other women. This happened countless times, while I'd be at home cooking and cleaning for him, just for him to come home and relax and enjoy himself. For context, we've been together for 3 years now. It seems like every time there's a fallback in a relationship, he would rather seek attention from other women than try to talk things out or find a middle ground. It's become so frustrating. He acts like he's unaware of his behavior, then turns around and acts like me wanting out of the relationship would be the worst thing to ever happen to him. He's even gone so far as to threaten to do stupid things if I decide to fully leave him.
Hmm.
We've been living with his family since we started dating, and that has played a small part in why I feel upset and uncomfortable about how things are turning out. His mother seems to like having him around and knows about his emotional affairs, yet still keeps him under her thumb. He's made many promises about us finally moving out and starting our own life together, but every time he changes his mind, his bank account gets drained instantly whenever his family needs anything, because they always rely on him. I've grown tired of complaining about how much I want our own space. I'm tired of sleeping in the living room where everyone can see us. But lately, all of this has fallen on deaf ears. I just can't keep sitting here pretending everything is okay. It's not okay. We are an adult couple sleeping in the living room of his mother's 3 bedroom apartment while he emotionally cheats behind my back. I always end up finding out, and then he begs me not to leave. I'm not as happy with him as I used to be. I feel like I'm trapped in a constant loop. He cheats, I find out, he begs, I stay, and nothing changes. I've talked to friends and they all say I should move out and leave him, but my conscience and some of my family is telling me I'd make a mistake. It's been a few months since the last time he's spoken to another woman that I know of, but I'm not sure if I can honestly say I love him. I really don't know what to do. Would I be the asshole for moving out and leaving him to start my own life, even if it meant hurting him emotionally, even though I no longer feel anything romantic for him?
God, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's just like, it's so sad in so many ways, but like, I think the thing that like is the saddest thing for me is how she still feels like indebted to make sure this dude's okay when it's like clearly he doesn't give a shit about you. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
the thing he's afraid of is losing you, but he also doesn't act like he wants to keep her either.
Yeah, I find it really hard in this situation to feel any sympathy for him because, from my point of view, it feels like he's gotten a gauge of the fact that she won't leave him no matter what he does,
Mhm.
and he's decided to pull the pity card every time knowing it works,
Mhm.
and she's just there, just
Yeah.
taking all of it. And some of her family even agree that no, you should stay, and like it'd be a mistake. And what do you mean it's a mistake? It's a mistake to stay in this relationship when you're getting nothing but pain out of it.
Straight up. Yeah.
You're hurting yourself emotionally while he's emotionally cheating on you. I hate emotional cheating.
Mhm.
That is the worst type of cheating in my opinion.
Mhm.
And that she keeps on going through this over and over and over again. My mental health would not be in a great state at that point.
Yeah. Like something that strikes me about this one is how she phrases it like, "Oh, but it's happened a few months ago," but it's like, "Girl, does the time span of how recently it happened really affect the trust you have for this man? Like he's done it over and over and over again. And so it's just like what piece of you still trusts that he's not going to because he's proven it over and over again that he is not going to respect you.
Right.
Yeah, he's gonna keep on doing it. And so it's like even if he has this streak of being better, I still don't trust that it's going to be enough, that he's gonna keep on that horse,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't trust this man. And one of the comments says, is this the life you want to live 10 years from now? Because you don't want to hurt someone who hurts you? You deserve a love that is not punctuated with betrayal.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you choose to be with someone who does not respect you?
Yeah,
Like, it keeps on coming back to this, but are you going to treat him like this? Are you okay with being treated like this? Why are you staying with someone despite that fact?
straight up.
And it's like he keeps on showing through every bit of his behavior that you are not his priority. It's like, it's not a bad thing to support your family, but when it also explicitly goes against the promise and the goal you have with your fiance of moving out, like you kind of owe it to them to not drain your bank account like that, you know? And I mean, of course, there's the emotional cheating of just like, oh, you're also just not enough of a priority for me not to look for other women's interests and attention when we're having issues. Like, that's just so fucking immature.
Yeah. I have another story that links up to,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have that fear of, if I end this relationship with him, like what will he do to himself? And I have a story
Mm-hmm.
that has the exact fear going into motion.
You want to read it?
Yeah, the title is My Girlfriend Took Her Life After We Broke Up. Her family is now blaming me and spreading my information online, plus 19 months update.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for that dude, but like, you can't blame yourself for your partner's like instability. And of course, their family's gonna blame you. I mean,
Yeah.
like, they're looking for anyone else to pin this on.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy, but at the same time, like, I do think if she had the right support, maybe she wouldn't have done it. And who knows? I'm not her. You can never really 100% understand why someone chooses to take their own life.
Mhm.
But what I will say is that you can't blame yourself for that, you
Right.
know?
It's really hard. The trigger warnings are multiple suicide attempts, domestic abuse, and defamation. Original post was December 14th, 2023. My girlfriend recently just took her life. This is by far the most devastating and traumatizing event I have experienced in my entire life. I've spent 5 weeks total in the hospital after two failed suicide attempts. My girlfriend was very physically and emotionally abusive. She has strangled, struck, and tried stabbing me many times. Whenever I would try to end the relationship, she would threaten to take her life and mine as well. I've called the police on her and contacted her family, in which she would just say she was kidding. She would later threaten me and have me not contact her family and police again because if I did, she would do something terrible. Anyways, her family has recently begun posting my picture and information online. They have also created a narrative. They have also created a narrative that I encouraged her to take her life and that I'm now hiding and fleeing from the police, which none of that is true. What can I honestly do in this situation?
Holy fuck. Oh, I feel so bad for this dude. Like, caught in this cycle of abuse, and whenever he seriously tries to escape it, she just manipulates the environment to make it so it's like, oh no, you're the asshole here, buddy. You're the problem. That's so sad and manipulative.
Yes. The top comments are seems like they're openly spreading lies about you. Pretty sure that's illegal. You could call the police and explore your options, I'd say. The second comment is talk to a lawyer. It sounds like the grounds Talk to a lawyer. It sounds like grounds to sue for defamation. Defamation?
Yep.
Yep. Talk to a lawyer. It sounds like grounds to sue for defamation, slander, and harassment. And comment 3, get a lawyer ASAP and a therapist to help you with your trauma. Remember that it's not your fault. You didn't kill her. She made the active decision to do that herself. You might be blaming yourself, saying that if you didn't break up with her, none of this would have never happened. Well, I'm here to tell you, never feel bad for putting yourself first. She was abusive. Hang in there. And then commenter for
Commenter?
and then commenter 4, what they're doing is illegal. It's slander, and they can actually be prosecuted for it. I would speak to a lawyer or go online and see what legal action you can take action against them. Also, your partner was clearly extremely abusive. Nobody has to stay with anyone if they're unhappy with anything, but certainly not when that person is abusing them. You had every right to end things. Nobody should have to take a risk Nobody should have to risk their life every day by remaining with a violent, volatile person because they threaten to kill themselves. That's manipulation. She made a choice, and it's sad that she didn't seek the help she so clearly needed. But that was her decision, not yours. I really hope you can get the help you need to navigate this. Good luck. Okay, and then they Made an update July 24th, 2025, 19 months later. Hello, everyone. Nearly 2 years ago, my girlfriend tragically took her own life. It remains one of the most devastating, life altering experiences I have ever endured. The pain and trauma from that event has rippled through every corner of my life, reshaping how I see myself, relationships, and the future. I'm just 23, but this experience has aged me beyond my years. The emotional toll and the weight of everything I've been through have left their mark inside and out. When I first shared parts of this story, I was overwhelmed, drowning in raw emotion, confusion, and chaos that clouded my ability to fully articulate what I was living through. It was rushed and incomplete. Now, with time, distance, and healing, I want to share a more honest and comprehensive account, not just to tell my truth, but to shed light on the complex reality of abusive relationships and grief. Our relationship was deeply complicated, painful, and at times frightening. She was physically and emotionally abusive towards me, behaviors that left scars I carry to this day. The abuse was often unpredictable, and I lived with threats and fear that made leaving feel nearly impossible. It's difficult to explain how emotional guilt and hope intertwine, how I clung to the memories of the good moments and believed, against evidence, that change was possible. But those signs, in hindsight, were warnings I wish I had recognized and acted on sooner. Throughout our time together, I reached out for help multiple times, calling the police, involving her family, in a desperate attempt to find safety and support. After her passing, her family attempted to pursue charges against me. However, after a thorough investigation, the police found no grounds for any legal action. The lead detective personally assured me that I had done nothing wrong and that there were no evidence to implicate me in any way. I fully cooperated with the authorities from the beginning. Despite these official findings, her family began spreading harmful and entirely false claims, including that I was fleeing from the police and on the run. This was a complete fabrication. I was never evading law enforcement. I remained present, accountable, and compliant through every step of the investigation. To protect myself and ensure the truth was represented, I hired a highly respected lawyer, someone with a strong legal reputation who has also served in Congress. Their guidance and advocacy helped me navigate the wave of public misinformation and personal attacks that followed. While the harassment has diminished over time, some of the false narratives still linger, continuing to cause pain. Since then, I've faced my own battles, most significantly, a suicide attempt that led to a 5 week hospital stay, followed by time in a psychiatric facility. It was one of the darkest and most vulnerable periods of my life. Recovery has been a long, slow progress, often painful and exhausting. I now work full time to manage the weight of mounting medical bills and rebuild some sense of stability. I plan to return to college in the fall of 2026, a step that represents both healing and hope for the future. Through it all, the unwavering support of my friends and family have been a lifeline, reminding me that I am not alone and that it's okay to ask for help. Healing is not a linear, some days are brighter than others. Healing is not linear, some days are brighter than others, and I'm learning every day to be patient and gentle with myself as I rebuild my life from the fragments left behind. Loving someone who hurts you is confusing and painful. Holding on to the hope of who they could be while facing the harsh reality of who they are kept me trapped far longer than I'd ever imagined. That internal conflict is something I still wrestle with. I share this update to raise awareness about the brutal realities of abusive relationships. Leaving isn't a simple decision. Emotional guilt, fear, and hope can create invisible chains that keep people trapped. If you or someone you know is in this situation, please know you are not alone and help is available. Please also remember, suicide is never the answer. No relationship, no matter how difficult, should end with loss of life. A healthy relationship requires emotional wellness. Your life is precious and worth fighting for. She wasn't a bad person. She was someone deeply struggling with pain and trauma of her own, a pain she couldn't or wouldn't face with help. That painful complexity shapes how I remember her, and I carry that with both sorrow and compassion every day. I loved her, and I still do, forever and always, no matter how difficult things became. She'll always be number one in my heart. She will hold a special place there until the day I die. If you're reading this and feel alone, overwhelmed, or stuck, please reach out. Talk to a trusted friend, family member, or professional. You don't have to carry this burden in silence. I hope by sharing my story, I can help others approach situations like this with empathy rather than judgment. We rarely see the full story behind someone's pain. I also kindly ask for respect and privacy as I continue to heal. This path is difficult, and compassion from others means more than criticism ever could. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health or abuse, please consider connecting with a counselor, helpline, or support group. There is help available, and you are not alone. I'm open to answering questions or having honest conversations, whether in the comments or through direct message. If you're going through something or just need someone to listen, I'm here. Thank you from the bottom of your heart to everyone who has offered kindness, support, or simply taken the time to read this. Your compassion means more than words can say. Relevant comments?
Mm-hmm.
Commenter 1. I have a ton of posts that are kind of similar, but I lost my brother and blame my brother's girlfriend. Unlike your situation where you tried to get her help, the girlfriend and her family, they lived with them, knew my brother was in psychosis and suicidal and harming himself for a week before he kills himself. They told no one, did nothing, did not try to help him at all, just let him die. I write a post similar to yours every Monday, day he died, on social media, hoping it'll help someone. If they are spreading misinformation about you, have them charged with harassment. Good luck. And then OOP responds, oh gosh, sorry, their responses are really long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really sorry for your loss. That kind of grief runs deep, especially when it's mixed with anger and the weight of knowing that the people who should have stepped up didn't. You and your brother deserved so much more. In my case, her family has gone out of their way to make me the scapegoat, and it's been incredibly painful. What they won't talk about is the fact that she was actually on suicide watch. Her own mother, a nurse, was the one responsible for watching her, and they still left her alone. After she died, they called me yelling, saying it was my fault because I had broken up with her. But later, they completely changed their story. They started spreading lies online, claiming I abused her and encouraged her to take her own life, even though, by that point, I had already stepped away from the relationship. The truth is, I always took her seriously when she said she was suicidal. I called her family. I called the police. I tried again and again to get her help. But each time I did, she would lash out at me. She would tell me I was being overdramatic, that I was making things worse, and that she never actually go through with it. After a while, that started to change the way I reacted. Not because I stopped caring, but because I'm human. When someone repeatedly tells you they don't mean what they're saying, you start to believe them, even when part of you still worries. It became a situation where I was stuck between trying to help and being told I was hurting her by doing so. What her family will never understand is that she told me, in her own words, that I was the only reason she was still alive at times. I was the one person she felt cared. So now, to be blamed for her death by the very people who were supposed to be protecting her, it's heartbreaking. They needed someone to blame, and they chose me. I really appreciate you sharing your story. Posting every Monday in memory of your brother is such a meaningful way to honor him, and I'm sure it helped more people than you realize. Thank you for your compassion and understanding. It means a lot. I'm doing my best to move forward with the truth and find peace. I hope you're able to find that too. You're not alone in this.
That was a really good comment and post.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
still.
I know. I'm trying to get a natural out. But no, gosh, this is brutal. I knew that the family was just blaming him to get out of their own guilt because let's be real, it's like who are the people in the best position to, have helped her after the breakup, to have supported her and to have gotten her the help she needed? It was them.
It was them.
She was on suicide watch. Her mom was the one who's supposed to be watching her. And I get that you have your own life and you can't spend every second watching over someone because that's just going to hurt you and they're going to be resistant to it. And I don't want to blame anyone because clearly anyone solves nothing in here.
Right.
But God, that is just, it's so sad in so many ways. And I'm so glad there's so many people that came out to support this person and to help him get through some tough times because clearly it wrecked his life.
Yeah, the I know sometimes when we read stories about uh, being in a toxic relationship and we just tell them to get out. I know that it's actually not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are things that keep them there, like
Yeah.
they're worried for the other person,
Financials.
financials, what ties them, like family, friends. I
Mm-hmm.
know there are a lot of things that go into keeping a relationship with a person that is being abusive. And there is the chance that when you finally wiggle your way out of that relationship, they hurt you further by doing what they told you they would do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's so hard because how do you how do you keep yourself sane by breaking off this relationship just to end up like just not destroying someone else's life, but getting destroyed in the process because of the actions that person decided to take.
Yeah. It's tough, but I think it's really important to remember that the person who you need to support the most is always going to be yourself. Unless, of course, you're a narcissist or something. But even then, like, the relationship that matters the most is the one you have with yourself. And so if you are actively understanding that you are putting yourself in harm by remaining in another relationship, you don't owe it to the person in that relationship to stay in it. You owe it to yourself to get out of it.
Right.
Like, and it's tragic that she took her own life, but like, it's that was her choice. It was not his.
Yeah.
It's just that's sad. I I really did appreciate the OOP talking about how it's important to have compassion instead of judgment. It kind of made me reflect about how I've been reacting to a lot of these stories and just like I've been giving a lot of judgment. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I always will when it comes to cheaters. I That's something I just cannot respect or defend whatsoever. But I do think it's important to think about like we're only getting one side of the story here, and so we've got to understand like people have their own reasons that are so deeply integrated with who they are as a person. We can't fully understand that.
Right. Their actions might be a reflection of themselves and the trauma they experienced. And it's hard to separate how can I blame them for something that they themselves didn't want to go through and now have to live with and coping. And some people's coping mechanisms aren't proper, like
No.
aren't helpful towards the people around them. And it's really hard to draw a line, especially when you say we only hear one side of the story. Like, it's hard to tell who's being truthful with their words. What are they leaving out? What part of the story from the other person's perspective are we not hearing? Um, Usually I like to take the side of the poster and, because although this is real life for them, this is just a story for me.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to listen to a story, I'm going to judge the story based off what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm. Makes
Um,
sense.
but some stories do bring you back to reality of the fact that these are people, this is their life. There are multiple sides to each person's relationships, their stories, their thought processes, how they were raised, changes what they think is okay. And, you know, all in all, it's really hard to understand a person without clear communication. I think that's what it falls back to is we have to be able to know that or communicate properly that this is how I was raised, this is what I know. Like maybe it's not what you know, and maybe it's not what you think is normal. Like we need to make it clear why we think ways that we think. And, sometimes it doesn't work out and things don't end good or
Yeah.
well. And, that's a risk that communication needs to take.
Yeah. I mean, because like it's either they end in a civil way through communication or they will end in a more explosive manner through the lack of it.
Right.
So it's just, you've got to be willing to talk about it. And if talking doesn't work, you just need to get out of there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not finished with the story yet. There are a couple more comments and that I would like to read.
Hmm.
Sorry about the mood spoiler or the solemn note. I just really thought that this is an important story. Commenter 2, I'm so sorry you've had to go through this. There's nothing I could say that would make anything feel better. But just know that you're not alone in this. For almost my entire 20s, I dated someone who was suicidal for half of our 8-year relationship. It's not easy. The constant wondering if today will be the day, if you'll have to be the one to find them or tell their family, not knowing how to proceed with your life or tying up loose ends for theirs. It's maddening, honestly. Truth be told, I feel like I stayed in the relationship early on out of fear that they would take their own life, and that's not fair to either of us. To feel like you're the one keeping someone on this earth is a burden nobody asked for, but we almost feel obligated to make it work. Again, I'm so sorry you have to navigate this difficult time in your life. It's not your fault. If relationship is the only thread keeping them in this world, it is not your duty to remain. There are deeper mental health issues at play. Don't carry this with fault or with regret. Don't carry this with fault or with regret because this wasn't you. Good luck with everything, and I hope you're able to live a long and happy life without this haunting you because you don't deserve to carry that. You're not a bad person. You're just a person doing what's best for them. And then OOP responds, "Thank you for this. It honestly means more than I can explain. I'm 23, and even though that's still young, going through something like this makes you feel like you've aged years overnight. It's the kind of pain and stress that's hard to talk about unless someone's actually lived it, and clearly you have. What you said about constantly wondering if today would be the day, or if you'd be the one to find them, or have to call their family, that hit me hard. I've had those exact thoughts more times than I can count. It's this quiet panic that becomes part of your daily life, and just like you, I stayed longer than I should have. I was scared that if I left, she'd follow through. It felt like if I let go, she would too. Unfortunately, she did let go after I broke off the relationship. It wasn't fair to either of us, but I felt like I had to hold on just to keep her alive. What makes it harder is that her family blamed me almost immediately after. They needed someone to blame, and I was the easiest target. That kind of guilt weighs on you, even when you know deep down that you did everything you could. Hearing you say it's not my fault really helps, more than you probably realize. You're right. If the only thing keeping someone here is a relationship, then there are deeper issues going on that love alone can't fix. I'm still learning to let go of that guilt and remind myself that I'm not a bad person for walking away when I couldn't carry it anymore. Thank you again for being open and kind. I hope you're finding peace too. Knowing that someone else understands this kind of pain makes me feel a little less alone in it." And then commenter 3 goes on to say, "If you are in the US and have evidence that the mother knew she was on suicide watch and left her alone, please report it to the state nursing board. I say this as a nurse. She has no business in healthcare if she can't be bothered to monitor a patient, especially her daughter who is actively suicidal." OP responds, "I live in the US. The only indication that she was under suicide watch by her mother came from screenshots provided to the police before she passed away. In one of the messages, my ex-girlfriend told me, 'I can't leave the house. I'm on watch for trying to kill myself,' after I asked if we could meet in person to talk about why I was considering ending the relationship. I went to school for nursing, so I have a strong understanding of the responsibilities and demands that come with the profession, and I truly respect those who dedicate themselves to it. That's why it stood out to me that my ex repeatedly described her mom as being lazy for a nurse, saying she intentionally chose to work as a school nurse because it required the least amount of effort compared to a hospital setting. What's also disturbing is that her own mom later posted those screenshots online and twisted the narrative. It still confuses me how so few people have questioned how her daughter was able to take her own life while supposedly under her direct supervision. At one point, I considered taking steps to have her nursing license revoked, given the circumstances, but I ultimately decided against it. She has 9, maybe more, I don't remember, other young children to take care of, and while I believe there was serious negligence, I also recognize that losing a daughter is already unimaginable, and stripping her of her license on top of that felt like adding salt to an already deep wound." And that's it.
Damn. Hey, respect to this person for just like trying to be the best dude he can in the shittiest of situations.
Yeah, this person is really gone through a lot so early on in life, and I hope that he finds solace in the fact that he's not alone and that he did everything he could. And none of this was his fault, although it feels like it when the
Everyone's
whole
trying to make it his fault.
yeah, when everyone else is blaming him. And I hope that with time and relationships otherwise outside of this one that he's had. He'll not completely recover because the scar will still be there. And find ways to make this a brighter part of his life. Like, you know,
Yeah, something that he grew from, not something that, beat him down until he was disabled or something like
yeah.
that.
I hope this doesn't.
Hmm.
I hope this becomes a seed that he grows from, and not something that completely destroys the soil
Yeah,
that
that's
he's
a cool
building his
metaphor.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice metaphor.
Yeah, thank you. Anyways, sorry about that long and very sad story. You
Hmm.
have one more story for us
Our
today?
last story.
You're ending it
Whoa.
here?
It is 55 minutes into the episode.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I
I
just thought it'd be a good time to.
I knew it was on Best of Redditor updates, but I actually hadn't read that story, so I didn't know it was so long and
Hmm.
so sad.
Yeah, real bummer, but that's okay. It was a story that was important to hear.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got a real bombshell of one. So you ready for it?
Okay.
All right. Am I the asshole for calling off my wedding after finding out my fiance slept with my dad 4 years ago?
Oh my gosh, you know what's crazy?
What? You have that one pulled up
I
too?
had that one
That
in
was
my
that was
saved.
your last one?
No, it wasn't. I had I had a couple more, but it was one of the options I had, but I didn't read it. So go ahead.
All right. I, 28M, have been with my fiance, 27F, for almost 5 years. We were supposed to get married this fall. 2 days ago, I was at my parents' house helping with my dad, 55M, set up his new phone, and I ended up transferring a bunch of his old files. While organizing, I came across an old hidden folder with screenshots of texts between him and my fiance from around 4 years ago. Turns out they hooked up multiple times while she and I were already dating. The messages were explicit. They were talking about how no one could ever find out because it would ruin everything. I honestly felt like I was going to throw up. I confronted them both immediately. My dad just sat there stone faced and said it was a mistake that didn't mean anything. My fiance started sobbing and saying she was young and didn't know what she wanted back then, and that she loves me and she wants to spend her life with me. They both begged me not to tell my mom or my siblings because it would destroy the family. I told her the wedding was off and left. Later that night, I told my mom everything. Now my family is in chaos. My mom kicked my dad out. My siblings are telling me I'm an asshole for blowing everything up over something that happened before you guys were even engaged. This is not the end of the story. I want to say that's bullshit. That is utter bullshit. They were still in a relationship.
They were.
That's cheating categorically. Cheating with your dad, by the way.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the siblings? Just think about that. They're in a relationship. It's like no, but you're the asshole because like what would it be like if the tides were turned on them? The tables were turned.
No, you're the asshole for telling everyone who it affected that your girlfriend cheated on you with our dad.
Yeah, it's just.
Gosh, that's awful of you to do.
It's like you should have just kept that it didn't matter. It happened years ago. It's like, buddy, it's horrific it happened at all.
Right.
You know? But to continue. And my fiance is texting me nonstop saying I'm ruining both of our lives over a stupid mistake. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Did I really overreact by canceling the wedding? Am I the asshole for telling my family and blowing everything up? Ah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Um, OP is not the asshole. I would consider entering a relation. Actually, you sleeping with my dad, that's messed up.
That would change things,
That would
yeah.
change things tremendously. I don't know how.
Mhm.
That would not be okay with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would tell my mom immediately, being like, Henry just slept with my dad or your
Mm-hmm.
husband. Like, that's not cool.
No, not cool.
That's not cool
No.
at all. Like, that's,
It's mind-boggling that it even
yeah.
happened.
You know what? And my brothers wouldn't tell me that I'm the asshole for telling my mom because my dad's the asshole for sleeping with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's fucked up.
that
That's
is
what it
fucked
is.
up. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
something to tell me, Henry?
I can neither confirm nor no. I have never slept with either of your parents.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
And grandparents too?
Yes. I had to really, really run the numbers there. But no. At least not while we're together. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay.
Um, okay, a comment that the top comment is a mistake is ordering Coke and being given root beer. Cheating on your spouse slash on your boyfriend is not a mistake. It's a choice. They made their choices. You made yours after learning about theirs. Not the asshole. Which I think is good. I really like that. It's like, no, that was a choice. They made that. You know.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
the fact that his dad put it in a folder, it's kind of weird. It's kind of
Isn't it?
sketchy. And they did it multiple times too.
Yep.
Not just once. Once can be, maybe an accident, a drunken night. But no, they were texting about it. They were sleeping with each other multiple times during that time. That's not
Yeah.
an accident.
Yeah.
That was a choice that they chose to do, and they should be required to handle the consequences.
Yeah, it's a profound betrayal on both sides.
Yeah,
Like, God. And just like how fucked up it is that they are betraying, like, the husband. No, yeah, because the dad, basically, was betraying his wife, his son, his family as a whole. And he knew that because he was like, no one can find out. I, I find it insane that the siblings are blaming him, you
yeah,
know? It's just like, that's not his fault for being like, hey, I'm going to inform everyone I can about this atrocious thing that just happened to me because I want support. And
right,
they're being like, you are the problem here. It's like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
right, yeah. No, that's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Not the asshole. I hope that he can cut these people. Well, I don't know if you can cut your
Mm-hmm.
dad and siblings out of your life, but at least cut the ex-girlfriend out of the life, and maybe go towards a path of recovery and learning how to trust people again, because that's going to be hard to come back from. You lose a lot of trust in everyone around you when someone so close to you and someone who raised you betray you like that.
Yeah, I feel so bad for this dude because, like, on all sides, he's kind of being attacked. I hope him and his mother are getting through this together because,
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, the both of them must be going through so much.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awful.
I feel like his siblings also need to work up, the ability to get his trust back as well.
Yeah, I know. The siblings have to go to some counseling to fix their thought process.
Yeah.
Because that's not okay with what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how old they are. I know when you're a young child
Hmm.
and something bad happens to you, and it's because someone spoke their mind and their
Hmm.
thoughts, you usually blame them. So maybe they're young children.
Yeah. Well, he is 28, so I feel like it might be that they're already adults.
Yeah,
They
they
could be
might be
older,
adults. Like
they could
if
be younger,
if they're
but
older,
still.
is no excuse. If they're
Yeah.
young children, I can understand why they would have that thought process because their life is changing radically. And the
Yeah.
person that is actually to blame is the father, but they just see the brother the reason because the brother's the one who told the mom, which is changing their life.
Yeah. But it's like, buddy, their lives changed 4 years ago. They just didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
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 Fuck.
But yeah, I don't know if I want to call this episode ball and chain. I feel like that's not serious enough for what we actually talked
That's
about.
true. This is pretty fucking intense.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Um,
Man, it's a lot of pressure to think about the actual title on the spot.
intense relations.
Sure. I like that. That works.
Yeah.
Intense relations.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be our title. It's hard to come up with ones, and I don't think in advance for them. So,
Yeah,
they're usually made up when we're making the episode.
that's true. In our like preamble before we start recording.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really interesting. If you guys ever want to hear it, just let us know, and we'll start the recording when we start sitting down, and you'll hear everything. Don't look at me like that, Henry.
What?
What?
We can't have our pre-show little talkies,
No, we can. If
but
that's
it'll be recorded for content and sold online
it won't be sold. I'm not making them pay anything. It's free
for
entertainment.
free.
Free entertainment.
Free.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Good. Who needs
No,
your
I'm fine with it.
perfect? But
What were you about to say?
I was about to say, who needs your permission?
You.
I
This
do.
is a relationship.
Yes, it's two-sided, not one-sided. I understand.
Hmm.
I got your permission. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for listening to episode 3 of Shy Shy's Long Con. And yeah, we'll see you again for episode 4. Please, let us know what you think and what you want to see in future episodes. I don't know what theme we're going to go with for episode 4, but I will probably leave a poll next time because it's really hard thinking of the spot and, why make a decision when someone else can do that for me? Anyways, well, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.